Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case, looking at the latest news and discussions on the matter. Today we're taking a look back at the supposed expert, also known as the former coroner and forensic pathologist. We saw previously what he had to say, or what she had to say, about the cause of death to do with Noah Presgrove, that it was more accidental, that no foul play, points like that. I will go over it again for those that didn't see it as a quick recap, but it's the reaction which has come about just recently, and supposedly there's been some additional responses as well from the OP original poster on Reddit, maybe getting a bit defensive, maybe some additional points which weren't looked at the time. I think now there's about 232 comments that have showed up on Reddit. At the time when I was looking, nowhere near that number. So obviously, it's gained traction. But with gaining traction, what are the responses? Have there been any more updates, any additional piece of information? And that's why I want to catch up with it today, but also apply it from the reactions of those on the Facebook page, Noah Presgrove's Army. I think maybe certain people on Facebook don't quite see eye to eye with those on Reddit, and maybe it applies vice versa as well. It is what it is, but I look at these different pages and places because there's different types of discussions and things that go on. And whilst it may not always be facts, if it's reasonable language used, which could be a theory or an idea, or what supposedly has been said, correct wording, it's not the end of the world. But some people aren't too pleased with this expert, what they had to say for the cause of death and what the person claims. I don't believe it was there last time, but this original poster saying something about being in contact with family, but there's some contradictions. But you got to look at it this way. People on the outside of the case looking in, participating within, who might make mistakes or might be deemed seen as misinformation, making mistakes, all these kind of messy things, maybe making some contradictions as well. Of course, the typical line of no one is perfect, but most importantly, those within the case, the most important people, for good or for bad, are the ones that have made more mistakes themselves and more contradictions to begin with, compared to the general public that's just trying to make sense of it all, in which some may even have trust issues because it's a bit of a mess, the situation. And maybe there is a current theme of things unraveling, supposed truths or supposed material, supposed experts, how it's been unraveled as like that it isn't truly the case. But I think the theme of today, more importantly, is highlighting, or at least people out there highlighting the possibilities that these experts or people that just come out of the woodwork are supposedly in on it, or a person behind a fake profile pretending to be somebody else, somebody hiding behind a profile being within the case, or people on behalf of those within the case acting out online to cause misdirection and confusion. But let me tell you something, and I might reiterate the point later on today, is that when it does come to this type of stuff, people may try and use persuasive language, convincing text, maybe fake evidence to try and sway people in a certain direction, the wrong direction, maybe down a rabbit hole. But then they always, maybe not always, but they do tend to make the odd mistake, and it's that obvious and a bit silly. And I can't remember it off the top of my head, but some previous videos that I have done, I've picked up on certain elements or factors where it's like, okay, I was following you for so long in, but that what you just said there is absolutely silly, okay? You contradicted yourself from what you said earlier on. So it's like those within the case, some of which can't even type properly or spell properly. They're not coherent in their language, their sentencing structuring, so it's hard to read. And you think, God, what a mess, how disorganized. Does that kind of replicate what they're like in real life? All kinds of things. Can't get it off the top of my head, but it's all in here, and I can sense it at times. So that's what I'm going to be applying to today, but also looking at it from the perspective of those on Facebook, because some have had to say quite a bit, and there was some new post as well from this expert. So we just weigh it in. Might as well continue on from where we left off. You never know. I mean, it's a bit of a lighter video. We've had some back-to-back breaking news, 2 lots the last 2 days. And to be honest, if you are interested in that, you haven't seen it yet, my video last night or the night before, make sure to catch up on them. You don't want to miss out. I'll provide links, top right corner of the screen where the I symbol is. If you click on that, you'll find my playlist. You'll find my 2 other videos as well. Be sure to check them out. If you do want to leave your comments, your thoughts, your questions, let me know down below under this video. And welcome to those that are currently here watching this live premiere. Another little shout out to Cleo, Badger Life, and maybe the odd other person as well for their support on the channel recently, such as last night. Very good to see, of course. And as well, able to break a new personal best. Not only was we able to reach 100 plus people watching live on 2 separate nights back to back, last night broke the record for the most people watching live. Many months ago, it was about 129 people watching live. That was either to do with a Kenny Veach video or more so when I was looking at Hobo Shoestring, that missing YouTuber at the time. But as of last night, completely broke the personal best by reaching 141 live viewers, which is kind of hard to believe, but it happened. Wasn't expecting it at all, just like the previous videos, but whatever's happening, it's working, must be doing the right thing. So I just keep on doing it as best as I can for as long as needed or practically needed and wanted. So yeah, that's why I'm doing this video right now. In terms of the hierarchy of things, this is still quite high up there because you got an expert, and normally with experts, you're supposed to put your trust within them. But if they are appearing a bit dodgy, they're not quite genuine, then who do you trust? That's how it can develop trust issues. And if people on Facebook are talking about the theme of you got these hired individuals or those acting on behalf of somebody else, pretending to be something they're not, or getting the right people in to do and finish their dirty work by creating misdirection, that's a very serious matter because the amount of people online, and of course you can pretend who you want to be and maybe even be anonymous too, there'll be a lot of misdirection and a lot of trouble. I mean, we've seen it in the past, but in this case, it tends to be more so those on the inside of the case. With the Dylan Rounds one, it was just more so the community and random people. Locals, kind of, but just those online as well for enabling it and almost like being brainwashed. I mean, you can listen to misinformation. You don't have to believe in it. You don't have to brush it aside and just completely ignore it. You can listen in just to see what's being said. Because whilst listening to misinformation, there is a very small chance there could be a little bit of truth within some of it. You never know. Or when it comes to misinformation, if you're listening carefully, it could be seen as whatever's being said here, it's the opposite, and the opposite is the truth. So when it came to Kurt Wadsworth, when he was drunk and talking, he could have been telling the truth. When he wasn't drunk and more sober, he possibly was lying, right? Things like that. So sometimes whatever someone says, you think or believe the opposite of what's being said. You can try and work around it like mind games. Psychological warfare, it can be a little bit advanced for people out there, but you really focus in, can be under control. Where do we start first of all, right? I mean, what we can go over first is the little summary of what was said from the expert, what they had to say. And then maybe we'll transition on to the Facebook post and what they had to say in response. And then return back to the Reddit page and look at the new comments. I'm not going to go through all the comments, right? I'll probably skim over them, but any ones that stand out to me, which I've not seen before, I'll read them out and we'll see where things go. Of course, at any point throughout this video, you want to react, share your thoughts, agree, disagree, whatever, well, you got the live chat box on the right-hand side of the screen. It is available. Feel free to use it. With that being said, let's get straight into this video. Here we are. So you'll be aware of this, and for others not, I'll scroll down to the conclusion. This was 3 days ago. Opening map. Now, I've done a video kind of like analysing, giving my thoughts, reactions to this, but we just scroll down to where it says conclusion. It is quite a long one, in fairness. Okay. All down. So we've got the comments as well, which we'll get to a bit later. Whereabout was it? Conclusion. Here we go. Conclusions. So what does this tell us? The major takeaway point of this is that these were not inflicted injuries in the sense of someone beating Noah or dragging him or doing anything of that sort. He was alive at the time he impacted the road's surface, period. So this person's saying that Noah died on the scene in that spot along that highway and nowhere else. There is no indication that the body was moved or that he was dragged, as some people have claimed. This death was most likely the result of an accident, although perhaps misadventure would be a better description for a manner of death. Most plausible theory as to how these injuries were inflicted is that the victim was either in the back of a pickup truck or standing on the back of another vehicle, such as a UTV, whilst it was travelling at high speed, for some reason, perhaps either due to the vehicle swerving or due to loss of balance, consciousness due to intoxication. The victim fell out of or off the vehicle. He landed head first and then flipped onto his back and skidded along the road surface. This scenario would explain all of the injuries demonstrated at autopsy. Please see the company illustration, whatever that means. Ultimately, I don't believe there was any foul play here. I don't believe there was any sort of cover-up other than a bunch of kids freaking out over an accident. Nothing that has been presented to me thus far seems to indicate that there was truly malicious intent on the part of the other persons present that night. So you're saying that, no cover-up, no foul play, nothing like that, just simply a bunch of kids were freaking out. So even if it was on the basis of an accident and kids were there present to witness it in order to freak out, but not to do anything about it and not to call it in to the police, that in itself is a bit of a cover-up. You're delaying the process. If there is nothing to hide and you're friends with that said individual who's now dead or could be considered, or unknown to people at the time due to the injuries sustained, you do everything you can to save that person or at least call in the authorities. If it is an accident and you are innocent, then you would make the call for most part of it. If you've seen it yourself but you don't do anything about it and then you keep quiet for months upon months, that is a form of foul play. That is a bit suspicious and odd. You shouldn't have anything to hide if you're innocent. And as we've seen in this case, it's been a bit dodgy. So this was posted as of today, so it's very fresh and new. 8 hours ago by Jan on the Noah Presgrove Army page. Friends beware. Sounds a bit interesting. Jan says, I have been very transparent about who I am and my intentions since arriving to these groups supporting justice for Noah Presgrove. I do not hide behind fake accounts or identities, nor do I post anonymously. Okay, fair enough. I have not made any claims to know anything, but have only theorised or questioned the knowns and have made offers to help in any way that I can. Fair enough. I remain open-minded. I heard about some new forensic pathologist who claims to be working for no one and has volunteered their time to do an opinion on Noah's autopsy. So based off their past experience and knowledge, they're trying to apply it here, which on the surface sounds normal and genuine. But let's continue to read. Jan says, I try to look at and listen to as much as I can, as most of us do here. I briefly ran through the autopsy opinion of theirs a couple of nights ago and I posted a question. It was not answered by the time I went to sleep, so I checked it today. My question had been deleted. Oh, odd. So I started reading the entire thread, which is basically an echo chamber, and original poster gets very defensive if you are not in agreement with his/her supposed analysis. Also, the original poster claims to be talking to family members, contradicting a lot of things that we have heard from family members. Also odd, And then I stumble onto this reply post from this so-called professional forensic pathologist whose Reddit handle is Opening Map, who is claiming unbiased, who just addressed me by first name, calling me out on their post to another poster, assuming that I was that poster, which was not me. So I corrected, and then poof, this entire thread exchange has been deleted. I was only able to screenshot this one and it was gone. See attached. What? The entire thread exchange. So you saying that the original post by the original poster is still up on Reddit, but when you go to the comment section, there is a particular comment with several replies, which would be a comment thread, and that's been removed since, but the other comments remain up. Interesting. Well, I'm going to take a look shortly, nevertheless, and see what has gone down recently. To be fair, at the time of when I looked, which was some days ago, yes, there was fewer people commenting because it was more recent at the time of when it was posted. So not everyone catched up with it. But at that time, there was a fair couple of people that were, I believe, in agreement with what the autopsy person was saying. And then others were doubtful and skeptical and saying, yeah, but what about this and what about that? And there wasn't a direct response, but there wasn't much resistance at the time. But maybe ever since, the original poster has been more active and has had things to say. Now, to be fair, if this original poster is claiming to be working or contacting, communicating with the family, but then early on saying I'm, a hands-free approach, I'm not getting too involved. Well, yeah, there are a couple of contradictions there if you wanted to put that across. But I think more so the defensiveness, if you do have an expert and they're giving their expert opinion and people don't agree with it or discredit it, sometimes you can understand why the expert could get a bit frustrated and annoyed. But when you start fighting back or getting a bit defensive, I don't know, it can harm your own credibility. Sometimes you deal with stupid people out there, you can't change that. Even if you are the expert, you are the one. I'm not saying that directly applies here, but other ways of looking at it would be when, someone gets defensive, it's kind of like maybe seen as throwing the toys out the pram, and if there was a professional, then they should know better. And if people do disagree, it is what it is. You can't convince them. Or you could try and provide some additional points in a formal way. But the moment you start being defensive, you're probably going to push people away even further. And in terms of the general theme within the Noah Presgrove case, such as in the community and key members, where, let's say, some points were mentioned or counterpoints, names were called out, those within the case, and then some of those within the case have reached out on the Facebook pages and kind of snapped, barked, had a go at certain people or shifted the focus elsewhere. That defensiveness, it's not just hi, let me just set the record straight, or hi, can you please refrain from using my name or saying this as it's untrue. No, people are just jumping on in like, really hard-hitting immediately. How dare you? You've got no clue what you're talking about. You're next. Things like that. It's kind of unnecessary. So, you're truly innocent. You don't want to cause any trouble. I mean, it doesn't match in your own behaviour online, and what you post or what you say, the first things that come out your mouth tends to be more defensive. So is this applying here with the original poster? Maybe. We'll obviously have a closer look at it in just a second, and I think there is a photo down below, but interesting. So this person's comment was deleted from Reddit. I've heard some people say that their comments were deleted here and there. My comments haven't been deleted, but granted, I've not left many comments to begin with. I had the odd post taken down, but it was perfectly okay. I understood why. Accidentally left the full name within the title or the thumbnail of some sort, so they had to take it down just because of the Reddit policies. Reddit in general, their policies and regulations and rules in general can be a bit dodgy. Subreddits can be okay, others not so much. The Noah Presgrove one, I'd say, is reasonable, and there might be some alternative ones as well, which are just as fine, looking at it from different angles. One might be a bit more open than the other. One may go in a bit deeper and look at some more, not quite sensitive, but more personal research, but public domain, of course. And sometimes it might hit the nail on the head, like certain relationships with Noah and Jasmine Milan. Jasmine Milan having a tattoo or something of Noah's name on her wrist. Things like that, which may have never been seen before or really looked at, because elsewhere people may think, well, we don't think much of it. But then you start looking at maybe potential relationships with Noah and other girls, and if it was all at the party, or it built up to the party where he was with a range of different people at the party but in the past, and now he's there in one place with them all, and they're all circling around him. He's got history, got form, and then there's other partygoers as well, the males, who may or may not be with one of the few girls there. Could be a form of jealousy, competitiveness, and with alcohol could lead to unnecessary behaviour and violence. You know, things can happen. So you look at these smaller details which these alternative pages provide, and you can build up some key points. It can be of interest and help. So yeah, I think I've done my talking now. What else? So yeah, thread deleted. Jan says, so for me, this so-called unbiased Reddit unverified expert has an agenda and whose opinion and thread is not only unprofessional but cannot be trusted. I mark this as disinformation. Make of it what you will. So it looks like we've actually got a screenshot down below before maybe the comment response was deleted. Interesting. Now, will it work if I click on the photo? Probably, but if I remember correctly, it just completely messes up. So what I'll do, I'll zoom in like this, and then I'll zoom out afterwards. So we've seen opening map before. This is the expert. It says unverified expert. The reason why that's the case is because that Reddit page of Noah Presgrove, they've included flares, categorization, tags, right? Where when you create a post, for example, you can attach a flare, and I think it's now required to do so. So it gets added to a certain category. So if you're going to upload a video or you're going to share a video, you'd select the flare YouTube. If you had a question, you would select the question flare. If you had a theory idea, you would select the theory idea flare, right? But the same can happen to your own name, your own profile. You can select your own little flare, which may be a keyword which describes you, something about you, something you like, something you identify not as, but with. So let's say you had a video game subreddit, and it was like Clash Royale or Clash of Clans, and your favourite character was P.E.K.K.A. or Barbarian King. You could have that as your flair, your title, like a title, right? And I guess here it applies as well. Unverified expert, I guess, was what was added in recent time. I do remember there was a Reddit post, and I don't know if I'll be able to find it. If I do, maybe I can include it in this video, where they were saying how if there are experts or so-called people that are in contact with family, if you can reach out in the background so we can confirm or identify that, and then we can add a flare to your username so it's easier to know who is who in the future and who to trust. And I guess with opening map, it's not been confirmed yet, or the moderators weren't able to reach out to opening map, so he's classified as an unverified expert at this moment in time. But if documentation or proof can be shared in the background privately to prove that this person is truly an expert, then it can be added to their flair, their title. I'm just explaining the ins and outs about Reddit, and this is coming from someone that hardly uses it yet. I've got it all under control here in terms of understanding. So this is what opening map had to say. I believe this must be the beginning of a comment thread or within one, and this is supposedly in the comment section of the post because it says OP, so this is still tied with what opening map had to say. So opening map, original poster, right. So map says you can exclude all the evidence you like to fit your narrative and accuse others of what you yourself are actually doing. Right, so I'm assuming opening map is responding back to Jan, who asked a question. That being the case, we don't know what Jan had to say. Jan said, oh yeah, I left a comment, I asked a question. But what was it? Was it a neutral comment question? Was it a negative comment question? What was it? Was it positive, negative, to warrant a response from this person? That's what we need to know. And if it's been deleted, well, we can't see, unfortunately. But we can look at the other Reddit comments later to see if there's a pattern of defensiveness, of course. If sometimes if you insult somebody's expertise, you insult their intelligence, yeah, maybe they can get a bit defensive at times because they're defending themselves. They're very passionate about a certain situation. But then on the flip side, there are other times where people just get defensive because of their ego or because they're determined to pull the wool over your eyes. Which way does it side here? You can let me know down below. So to start it off by saying you can exclude all the evidence you like to fit your narrative. Okay, getting a little bit personal there, a little bit defensive, and accuse others of what you yourself are actually doing. So by saying you and accuse is opening map saying that Jan has accused this person as something or accused something else. What's going on here? Anyway, the two pathologists include one, Baden, who is well known for basically saying whatever he is paid to say. Well, that doesn't sound good. Who is Baden? Not Biden, but Baden. The shredded fingertips thing is bullshit. I mean, in fairness, I don't remember ever seeing shredded fingertips on the autopsy report, yet a range of people within the community have stated that's the case. And I think some people may have said it actually came from what the family had to say. But family or not, you know, most of the time you would hope to have trust in the autopsy report, right? There might be exceptions here, but in general, you tend to trust it because it's official documentation. And within that official document, I don't remember seeing shredded fingertips. So what's that all about? So this guy here says it's bullshit. The ME, medical examiner. Right, there we go. I've worked it out. ME is not a person's name. It means medical examiner, in case you're wondering. So this person says the medical examiner isn't going to exclude that because there are photos in the, what does that say? Is that supposed to say case file? That would show a glaring discrepancy. If you're actually arguing that with a straight face, I have a bridge you might be interested in. As for the golf clubs, what about the lead pipe and candelabra? What? The golf clubs played no role in this because none of the injuries fit with the alleged weapon. By the way, since you are apparently unaware of basic forensic procedure, you don't normally measure depths of lacerations. That's normally only done with stab wounds. So you can estimate the length of the weapon. Lacerations of blunt trauma and scalp lacerations are only going to be as thick as, wait for it, thick as the scalp. You can't measure total blood loss when part of it is lost externally or into tissues, such as the posterior chest wall in this case. But in terms of measuring total blood loss, I'm sure it was mentioned in the autopsy report, litres or whatever measurement, how much was actually lost and how much was lacking at the scene of the body. So it did actually give some measurements of blood loss. Removed by officials at the scene hours before 911 call placed. What in the hell? Are you running a high fever or something? It 100% does exist. I verified this. Hopefully will become publicly available soon. Sure, Jan, pardon me for not holding my breath whilst I wait for you to produce that. Right, so I think what Jan is referring to here, because it looks like the original poster is re-quoting some of the points made by Jan in her comment, which cannot be seen on the page, which is very unfortunate. It would have been good if Jan provided her own screenshot of her comment, unless it's what's mentioned down below, but normally that wouldn't be the case. It would have been above the original poster's response. I don't know why Jan didn't include her own comment, just to, so we can do the comparison of what this person's saying and why. Sometimes if you don't have the full context or the full story, you won't know why this person's truly being defensive. So it would have been good to see it from both sides, both perspectives, but unfortunately that wasn't done so. But anyway, great quotes. Removed by officials at the scene before 911 call placed. Yeah, So what Jan is referring to here about removed by officials at the scene before the 911 call, before 5:53, this is all in relation to that supposed hidden footage secret recording in which you got a person behind the camera, you got a police guy at the scene, volunteer firefighter, supposedly Bub Wilcoxon, and two other clothed individuals, unknown identities, in which the supposed video footage, detailed and explained on Facebook, highlights that the police guy is removing Noah Presgrove's black shorts and then folds a white pair of shorts near to the body. Yeah, foul play, tampering with the body. Caden Pressey himself said there was tampering with the body. Now, Caden didn't see any of that happen, but he was there before it did. But did he come across those people? Likely, because he was told to head back to the house. And that's probably because those little authority figures didn't want anybody at the scene to see what they were doing. So yeah, that ties in there. And then when the autopsy report came about, compared to what Caden said, it told a different story. In terms of what Tyler Hardy has supposedly mentioned recently from that Daily Mail, at least how it's been worded there, at least. Tyler said nothing weird, the body not messed with, but he got there at 5:53 after the mishandling of the body and the tampering. So they would have gone by then. So then when Tyler Hardy drives by, he'd be the only one there. And in his mindset, the first one on scene. But realistically, he's not. Makes the call to the police, the actual authorities, the highway patrol. And then they come on down. But there was already authority figures there before, kind of like off call, kind of off duty, doing like a side thing, which is a problem in itself. Covering up possible crime, helping out those responsible for it. That's how it comes across. And we've heard that recently on Facebook, the details given and explained. And Jan's just basically referring to that on his Reddit page, but supposedly this original poster has never heard of it before. Okay. So that seems to be the case there. And what else? It 100% does exist. I verified this. So basically, Jan is saying that the video footage, the hidden recording, is 100% true and it is real. It does exist. But yeah, this original poster isn't really giving it a listen. Do we have anything else then? Human, your spidey senses must be off. I was legit thinking whilst reading all this thread that you might have an unbiased, objective opinion. Not convinced, accurate, but still respectable, unbiased opinion. The statement you were replying to where you deliberately called out my first name, Jan, lol, apparently because I made an offer of attorney fees regarding said video, is absolutely biased. I have made no claim to knowing the existence of this video you just showed yourself. I do not hide behind secret Reddit names. This is the Jan you were referring to. I'm obviously not Threaded Barrel. ABC, unverified expert, is showing bias because he has obviously been reading Facebook pages and posts and making assumptions not based in fact. Signed, Jan. Okay, so at least she provided her point of view there, but it would have been good to see the earlier response in order to get the full picture. Now, how do I zoom out here? Is that zoomed out completely? I think so. Okay. So there is a bit of defensiveness, I guess, from the original poster, especially from the opening sentence by them. Necessary or unnecessary? I don't know because I don't know the original post by Jan, exactly word for word on here. But what do some people have to say? So we've got Justin Roy, key individual. Justin says, and that's what they do. They create fake accounts to push false narratives and disinformation. Is this hinting at someone within the case then? Like how fake accounts infiltrating the Facebook page, other accounts creating a fake page of Noah Presgrove's army, in a way. Anyway, Justin says, and why do that if they really think it's just a hit and run? Why continue to create fake accounts? Why create fake pages? Yeah, so we have heard people within the case hinting, suggesting a possible hit and run. I mean, Jack Newton has touched upon it in a way. Stevie Howard is absolutely convinced it was a hit and run, or at least up to the last time I checked, that's what she felt. You can do a list down below or in the chat. Let me know all of the names you're aware of those who are tied within the case that believe it's a hit and run. Jack Newton, Stevie Howard. Who else? Let me know down below. Maybe other people can look into it or get a better idea, right? Anyway, is there a way to answer why would they continue on creating fake accounts and pages if they're convinced it's a hit and run? Well, this is the thing. If they were being genuine and honest and truly believed it was a hit and run, then there would be absolutely no need to follow it up or create any fake pages or names to try and spread the message. There'd be no need at all. But if you're trying to spin or create a false narrative that it was a hit and run, then obviously you would do absolutely everything possible to convince as many people that it was a hit and run, even if it means desperate measures, desperate actions, fake pages and accounts to pull the wool over other people's eyes. If people were so passionate and determined to convince others it was a hit and run, they might actually pretend to act like an expert, or maybe even get in a possible expert to try and convince others of a false narrative. You know, if they want something, they'll do whatever it takes to get it. And maybe their outcome is to convince the general public the cause of death of Noah was something else, which it wasn't. And even though it has been ruled out by, I guess, experts, some other experts, like what we're seeing from that past Daily Mail article, I think it was police as well ruling out a hit and run at one point, but that's just like quoting what Caleb Newton said from what he was told by the police. And how true is that? I mean, Caleb at the time said the police told him it wasn't a hit and run and it wasn't a beating based off the injuries. So what was it then? What else could it be? Right, things like that. So, you know, I'm just relaying what's been said from elsewhere, and we have documented it in my past videos too, so it is available. But yeah, desperate measures and actions for those who are very passionate about the case for the wrong reason. Okay, anything else? Noah Presgrove's army, this is the type of people we're dealing with. This is what they do. What? Oh, from what you've experienced. Make no mistake, there was a murder and a hit and run cover-up, in my opinion. Oh, and the cover-up is still going on even now. They're spreading false information to cause confusion. Wait, hold on. Make no mistake, there was a murder and a hit and run cover-up. Right, okay, yeah, I'm understanding that. I just had to reread it once again. So, Noah Presgrove supposedly murdered, and the story has been portrayed as a hit and run. But that's fake news, supposedly. Okay, I get that. Moving on. Justin says, think about this. If just and accident, what? And it was Noah's fault, why not call 911 and get help? Yeah. These families literally get away with everything. They hardly get tickets or charges even when they drink and drive or crash whilst drunk. No charges. And of course, the Bill and boating incident that we all know about. The boating incident, that's incorrect wording. It wasn't an incident. The definition of incident is where there is no damage sustained. But clearly, there was, because the girl got killed. So even though there wasn't a true outcome and it's a bit of a mystery, it was deemed more as some kind of boating accident. The definition of accident is where there's damage done to the person or property, possession, item. That's why it's called an accident. You know, like with the ATV incident, which has been labelled many times by people as an accident. Well, it was described that Noah wasn't injured and that the vehicle wasn't damaged, so that would be considered more an incident. If you look online for the definitions, you'll be able to find it there. So the boating accident, 2020, Caleb Newton operating the boat, 7-year-old girl falls into the water mysteriously and makes contact with the propellers and dies in a very bad way, right? And in relation to that, there were no charges, not much of a follow-up, remained a mystery, and the victim's family, were actually paid off $100,000 supposedly, and they seemed quite okay with that despite losing their daughter. So that says a lot, doesn't it? Anyway, so my point, if honestly just an accident, nothing could have happened to any of them. This was more than an accident, and the cover-up involved a lot more people and more sinister in my opinion. I also think they caused a lot more of his injuries after death to stage a hit-and-run scenario. We know it's not a hit-and-run, and his injuries are way worse for just an accident. I understand that, red flag. So it's an interesting take what Justin has suggested here, that yeah, some injuries sustained killed Noah straight up, but then the additional injuries and damage caused to the body was done after death to try and make it look like he was killed in other ways. Kind of smart that, but would people be that smart to think of that on the spot at the time? Especially younger partygoers who are mostly drunk. Would they honestly be thinking that clear? Or would they have had some kind of assistance? I wonder. But I still think that boating accident is just as gruesome as Noah Presgrove. You think about it, especially because of the age as well, quite sensitive. You fall into the water, you make contact with a propeller. You can imagine what that would look like. Mangled, cut up, decapitated. Crimson red water. Not a good look. And all the other children and younger people on board, were they traumatized by it or not? I wonder. It's pretty messed up. Really messed up, actually. And actually witnessing it in action, for some at least. The fact that Caleb Newton's name comes up in different situations of different deaths, it could be unfortunate, it could be wrong place, wrong time, but is there a bit of a pattern going on? Or is he just a very unlucky person? That's what you got to try and look at. Now, what else do we have then? Agree? I think we need to look at the occupants that was on the ATV with Noah. Fair point. What did they have to say? I've asked Jack who were they, and he could not tell me. So he didn't want to say. He wasn't allowed to reveal. That's very weird. It does look like he's trying to protect someone then, or people. What else? Their lives seem like nothing but a big party at others' expense. So sad. Will they feel anything? Maybe there was a bit of a drinking problem, or gosh, a lot of young people have lost their lives whilst drinking. UTV boat accident. Maybe we should take life a lot more serious. Move on, very simple. Read really, you don't even have to read all of them in one day, but a few each day. You shall have no other, okay, I think it's bloody commandments, okay. Agree, so it's just people agreeing. We know there were 3 UTVs in use, a Ranger, SXS, and a lifted Mini? Question. How significant is that then? Could not have said it better. Imagine that because, right, was asleep. Do we know that there were other ATV, UTV, SXS out there? I've asked many times if there were any others, because it's hardly seemed likely there would only be one with all the people there, that they were going to the river and hunting. Did they actually do that? Could Oklahoma Highway Patrol have been shown the wrong ATV and the others already removed, left the property? Question. No answer. Those that murder is not... Okay. Why are we going into Bible references? I didn't know this was Bible class. I thought we were just supposed to be looking at the case. That boy has so many different stories. He did not go to sleep that night morning. So Shannon is talking about Jack Newton from the looks of it. Candace, maybe there was never an accident of that sort. I mean, how relevant is this to the original post for what we're supposed to be looking at? According to Caleb Newton, it was still dusty when they looked at it. What? The vehicle? Yep, several partygoers don't remember an ATV accident at all. Weird. It does seem as if they live in Party Central and don't care about anyone or anything, just living in the moment. That's probably a fair point, that. They may think they're clever and getting away with the murders, but God will see to it and they'll answer for those events. There were multiple ATV-type vehicles out there. Which one did Caleb Newton show Oklahoma Highway Patrol, who owned all the others? When were the other ATVs removed? I mean, I asked a comment, or I mentioned something on one of my previous videos, and someone responded back saying Jack Newton had a trailer and brought 2 ATVs down. So what were they going to be actually used for? To get about? To race one another? I wonder. Such a good point. We've been focusing on Jack Newton's UTV, but what about the other vehicles on site? There is an undeniable relation with a UTV ATV because LE did check it and cleared it, right? I don't remember hearing that, but that could have been early on the news. I'm catching up still. But if it would have been a true hit and run on the highway, why would LE go up the driveway to check on said UTV ATV? Did they check and clear any other vehicles, farm vehicles? Why would local LE go check on said that, but not corner off the house other buildings? Everyone's vehicles botched. Yeah, you know, you're going to look at one thing that's on the property, you might as well look inside the property too, possibly. Okay. LE didn't inspect the UTV, it's another lie. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good, does it? Caleb Newton had it already loaded up before LE arrived to take it home. Also, there was no UTV accident per Caden as of 3:15 a.m. and others at the party, so that's another lie as well. In order to explain why he was showered, why the permanent marker was off him, and to mislead people to think it could have caused his deadly injuries. Okay, so even here, in this thread, there is uncertainty, which obviously is not a good sign. Is that actually it? I thought there would have been more comments there. Can I adjust it to latest, most recent? Oop. Oh, 37 minutes ago. Katie, I got kicked off that post as well. It was weird. I wasn't rude or anything. I think if you don't kiss their arse and or mention any of the facts, the original poster left out the analysis, then you get blocked. It was weird. I think what people need to remember that yes, you can post on Reddit pages, but you don't have the power to delete comments. It's the moderators on the subreddits that have the power to remove comments. Okay, just like how they have the power to remove videos. So the original poster isn't deleting anyone's comments from the best of my knowledge. I mean, in the past, when I've done a post elsewhere, like with gaming communities, and there's been a lot of toxicity, do I have the option to delete people's negative comments? No, because I don't have control over the subreddit. If I was the owner of the subreddit and I created a post, I have the power to delete my own post and even delete people's comments within that post and subthread, right? But I can't because I'm not controlling any subreddit out there or page. And I think that applies to original poster as well, that forensic expert. So for people to say the original poster is silencing me, is deleting comments which don't align with his opinion or hers, that's incorrect. He's not deleting the comments. There'll be other people, likely. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, unless there's different positions, if you can be appointed a certain position, despite being part of the general public, there might be exceptions, but at least from my experience, I can't delete comments. I mean, on YouTube, because I'm the channel owner, I can pin comments, I can heart comments, I can respond to comments, I can delete comments, and I don't do that. I don't like doing that, but you get what I'm saying. You got to be in charge of the page in order to then moderate comments. And original poster is not a moderator from the last time I remember, unless things have changed. If that person is now a moderator, well then, yeah, they could delete comments. So let's just make that very clear. And for Katie to say, I got kicked off the post, you don't get kicked off the post. Your comment may have been deleted. But you say then you get blocked. So you're saying you actually got blocked, outright blocked. Interesting. Anyway, let's just see, because I don't know why, I couldn't see the other comments before, but now they're starting to show up. Charles, I thought the analysis was as you would expect from a medical professional. Being a medical professional myself and having doctoral degrees in spine-related issues, his explanation of the mechanism of injury sounds plausible. Yeah, I'm most definitely not a forensic anthropologist, and I'm definitely not qualified to question his judgment. I do agree that his responses seemed to get defensive. Fair enough. I don't think that disqualifies his analysis. I believe he spoke to the injuries as described in the autopsy without attempting to consider other parts of this case. This seems appropriate to me. Okay. Justin responds saying, you have to look at the whole picture of that night and the morning as well, right? Noah wanted to go home. Wait, I thought Noah wanted to go home in the early hours of the morning, not Sunday nighttime, but Monday morning, because it was 3:30 when he supposedly left. It was around 3 in the morning, or just a bit before that, where Noah was reaching out to the likes of Caden Pressey, asking could I have a lift back, and even Carter Combs, and it being denied, rejected. So, yeah. Justin says he actually asked several people for a ride home, called a few people too. He's not going to be out joyriding at 3 to 4 a.m. in my opinion, so not in the right frame of mind. If he wants to go home, he's not in the right mood or mindset to be then messing around having fun. I would understand that, so then it would rule out the original poster's claim of Noah accidentally falling out of a moving vehicle. And as well, the fact that from the looks of it, no one wanted or would be able to give him a ride back. How else would he be in a vehicle? Anyway, Justin. Also, lack of blood. One medical personnel estimated 2 to 3 pints of blood loss. Ah, there we go. That's why it was. Yeah, I did hear about that. I said litres, but pints, that's correct. The rest was in his chest, organs and cranium. Again, his injuries were more than just falling out of a truck. He had 10 broken ribs and his head smashed in the back. That head wound would have bled way more than that, but you are free to your opinion. Body Bags medical examiner said, Body Bags, who are them? Said Noah's injuries were worse than someone jumping out of an airplane without a parachute. Really? Wow. Another said he would have had to fall off an ATV, break his neck, then get ran over 3 to 4 more times to cause the injuries he had. Wow. Also realised there were a lot of arguments that night and altercations. Think about why Noah left in the first place, supposedly. Yeah, he wanted to go away. The arguments. Getting a bit tense. Did he feel endangered? Maybe, maybe not. So, why is it so hard to think Noah was fighting or wrestling with someone, then someone hit him 1 to 2 times in the back of the head or neck? Then they panicked, washed him, then staged a hit and run by running him over with an ATV a few times. Make no mistake, the hit and run was the cover-up, and that so-called family ran with it for 9 months until now. Why is this scenario hard to believe? That house should have been searched, and their state-of-art cameras somehow didn't work that night. Yeah, that's very convenient, isn't it? And Dalen, so Noah Presgrove's brother, golf clubs that multiple partygoers witnessed are missing. Very weird in my opinion. Thoughts on this? Yeah, so, you got Jack Newton's missing hat. You got the Dalen's missing golf clubs. What other items are missing? You could add like an inventory list of every item that was at the party or nearby that is now missing. Group them all together. Does it create a story? Possibly. Jan, maybe. He doesn't know me, but I'm aware of. I don't know him, but I'm aware of. Reddit is all pseudo names, handles, incognito. Not really. No, not at all. There are people that can have real names. Why call my name out specifically when I did not make the post that he was replying to, and he was very aggressively belittling me, in my opinion? I haven't told anyone what I have deduced on the limited amount of information I have, neither in private or publicly. I actually reviewed the autopsy several times and just discussed with a medical professional this afternoon. I participated in discussion debate of theories but have made no claims. I have offered to pay legal fees for potential state's witnesses. Fair enough. Why would he delete my questions? Why would he delete my reply to him where I was showing my actual Reddit handle and signing with my name? Reddit gave me that handle when I signed up in 2020 and I've hardly ever used it until now. That was intentional and suspect, invalidating any credibility he may or may not have had. In my opinion, at the very least, unprofessional and emotionally attached to this case and his limited analysis. I mean, once again, Jen, that original poster, providing they're not a moderator and they're just simply participating on that page like you are, your comment wasn't deleted by that poster. There's a chance that your comment was deleted by the moderators. I mean, the other way of looking possibly could be if you went to the notification center, the bell icon, top right corner of the screen on Reddit, and it could say your comment has automatically been removed, or your comment may have been removed by moderators, like how it informed me that time about my post deleted or taken down. On that case, I understood why. So, whilst the original poster could be seen as defensive, I think there's a misunderstanding here with claims being made that he or she is the one silencing people like this on Facebook by deleting comments. That's not the case. Unless he's a moderator, or she is. If not, it's not their fault. So, need to think before we type. Okay. Or someone close to you, jealous of the work you have done, offers you have made, dropping something a little cryptic for their own attention-seeking reasons. I see that on this board happening. Could it be happening on Reddit as well? Jan, maybe. Sad any way you look at it. I'm thinking only the guilty would want to discredit me, which doesn't matter. My office still stands. My money's still good. If this doesn't produce a state's witness, I'll contribute in other ways until someone or someones are found and convicted. It's unfathomable to consider this a possibility, but I think it's worth some private consideration. What's this? 1/3 of his blood from his body is missing. Where is it? It wasn't where they put him on the side of the road yet, and it's definitely down the drain in the shower where they showered him. Sometimes when people go on about misinformation, disinformation, confusion, problems, but then some people are very certain and very confident that something else happened, but they don't have the full-on 100% concrete, ironclad proof to prove it. Thank God Warlight Ref is here with very appropriate language and wording. People will see that with time. Forever how long this case goes on for, I use a lot of specific wording. I'm one of the most specific individuals out there when it comes to language. But nevertheless, let's just continue reading. Because it has more blood vessels closer to the skin surface and the scalp area carries more blood than the rest of areas of the body. So there would have been a lot of blood from Noah's head injuries alone. There would not just be blood from his ears that come from internal traumatic brain injury alone, not from having your back of your head completely caved in, being internally decapitated, a skull scalped with a 4-inch by 2-inch piece missing out the top of your head, your nose, cheeks, teeth, and entire face broken, which would cause significant amount of blood loss from your entire head and face. Also, there was not blood splat on the road, and the alleged small amount of blood on the road looks more like purge, which comes out of your mouth and nose after you die. My question would be, though, where the blood is located, it's actually north, right? I don't know how, in terms of distance, it is away from the body, but at least from the angle that I saw from an older photo, it appeared to be either north of the body or south of the body, but either just before or just after the body and not nearby exactly. So how did that blood travel? Does anyone know? Justin. Exactly, but that other side wants us all to believe his blood was all internal from internal injuries. His head wound would have bled tremendously, especially with alcohol in his system. You're right on the money. Perhaps there is a mole in this group. Yes, I know. I broke my nose in 4 places and had to have 2 reconstructive surgeries, and the amount of blood for that alone was 20 times the amount at the scene where Noah's body was found. Right. What else? And those involved and guilty are the only ones that keep downplaying Noah's horrific injuries and acting as if there was no big deal, and like there wouldn't be a significant amount of blood where his body was found from the injuries he sustained. Basically, they're minimizing what they did to Noah, or at least in better ways of wording it, the party goers, those on the inside of the case, are minimizing the true damage which was sustained to Noah by someone. There we go, that's how you word it. Christina, you have such a beautiful heart. Okay. After reading comments, I guess I'm the only one that thinks this is very reasonable. I've wondered this from the beginning, but the lack of blood had me stumped. Then I went back and read where the brother said blood was seeping through the covering and blood from ears. Then I looked at autopsy again and saw how much internal bleeding he had. I believe he died right there. Falling or pushed head first, it's still a crime. The wounds aren't consistent with a beating. The force was too great. Let's try to get some more unbiased medical examiners and see what they think. So like a second opinion, a third opinion. Okay. Michelin. Have I seen Michelin before? Is that the one on YouTube? I don't know. You don't think a golf club could do that damage? The original autopsy notes, along with the crime scene photos, needs to be analysed by a biochemical engineer physicist who specialises in forensic analysis, causation and crime scene reconstruction. In my opinion, this case and Noah's injuries are too complex for these garden variety publicity-seeking medical examiners and first-year forensic pathologists who are not trained or experienced in the field. Anyone who has skin in the game, as apparently this person does, should be disqualified, and especially they cannot be verified. But this forensic pathologist and coroner, they said they were a former one, so they're not practicing it anymore. So I think it was a golf club or tool tire. Okay. You have to look at the whole picture of that night. Noah wanted to go home. He actually asked, we've seen that before, haven't we? Yeah, we saw that. I completely agree. He's serious right now. He was brutally beaten. I think he got beat and dragged, then dumped. Do you think Ellie is really working on this case? I can't understand why they wouldn't now that it's out of local Ellie hands. First glance, it seems reasonable. Try to keep an open mind. Once he got closer, he contradicts himself. You cannot have a simple scalp injury on top of the head from landing on it, which he says caused the vertebrae to break, but also have the place of greatest impact and damage in the back of the head. The two don't match. Also, he states that the shoulder blade and rib fractures would have been caused from landing flat on his back. You can do all those things at once. All right. So a lot of people seem to be against this this professional. Along with being stomped on and probably curb stomped whilst being jumped and hit with golf clubs. Curb stomps, I guess it can apply, as were rumoured prior to Noah's funeral, which means it's most likely what happened is true. Normally, not always the case with probably exceptions, but I guess traditionally a curb stomp is where you're forced to open your mouth, so you're on the edge of a curb, and then you're lying flat on the ground face first, but your neck's tilted up a bit, your mouth's opened, so you basically on the edge of the curb, and then someone stamps down on top of you. So it kind of breaks your neck, breaks your jaw, possibly. What else? Me Too, it's heartbreaking, yeah. What's this? Malicious monsters, narcissistic sociopaths. And I did have a skydiving uncle whose parachute failed and he survived, and yes, Noah's injuries were far worse. Interesting. Not an expert at all, just a girl from Louisiana. But the severity of his injuries do seem like some sort of motorised accident. I only say that because it would be extremely difficult for a person or people to deliver injuries that Noah sustained to his spine. I apologise for graphics, but to be internally decapitated When I googled if it's possible that person could do that to another, all that comes up are stories of vehicle crashes. I don't know, it just seems like a bunch of horrible people who call themselves his friends hid the accident/incident and are continuing to do so. Yeah. Okay. Corrupt brotherhood. What's that all about? What's this one? Anita, I understand the need to be heard if you have an idea or theory that you consider valid. What I did not understand is the need to post your theory 40, 50 times. I got it the first time you said it and the 10th and so on. I've even asked you to expand on your theory, thinking if you were invited to explain maybe the incessant brotherhood, the lodge would stop. You remain silent. We get it. You think the brotherhood is running this show. Are you being paid to push that narrative? Pressured to push the narrative? Do you really think the brotherhood would let you call them out 30, 40 times? Who is the brotherhood? Do you think they would call me out if I was wrong? Have they? Nope. Crickets. They're guilty. You must be one of them. Are you scared of the truth? So this back and forth now. Yeah. No, I'm exhausted with your copious amounts of one-word posts and refusal to expand or explain your position. Yeah, so we're getting some like childlike playground behaviour from the likes of Carol. The Shaw Jan comment sounds like a troll. If this person is coming on as a professional, he needs to go to rehab. Yeah, I mean, you look at certain words used, a bit of slang, bit of informal wording. Does it match that role of an individual who could be quite formal, serious, experienced? Certain words and language can leak through. You could get someone claiming to be a professional, high-end individual, very intelligent, and then they say one word, bro, and how they pronounce it is very similar to how others. The only example I can give there was a school shooting, and I don't know where it was. Could it have been Texas? Not too sure. Last year or the year before, and the school shooter approached one of the classrooms and was acting like a police officer. And the people in the class weren't too sure what was going on. But the moment the shooter ended up saying, "It's okay, bro," that's when everyone in the classroom said, right, we need to run. We need to exit through the window. He just said, bro. That's not what a police guy would say. This must be the shooter, that he's trying to deceive us. So that could apply here as well. What else? If he's a professional, or if she's a professional, that's unbiased, then how does he know Jan's name? She doesn't go by Jan on Reddit, so this unbiased professional must be in these groups reading along. Yeah, I guess. But still, how would you know directly that that person from Facebook is this person on Reddit? Unless the person on Facebook has said, here's my Reddit username. So then you could determine this is that. It's like they've been a mind reader instead, which is very weird. Jan's not the only comment that was deleted. You keep saying he deleted or she deleted, but I don't think that it's just not how it works. We'll have to, you know what? If I can, I'll go on Reddit or I'll get up the rules of Reddit if possible. I said before, I think it's Stevie Howard behind that post. If it really was Stevie Howard, would she be writing up a somewhat intelligible piece of text which is somewhat coherent, which obviously doesn't mirror her most of the time? Can a person pretend to be intelligent? Is it possible? Marcy, she had mentioned on a previous post on this page that she had a lot of autopsies or something to that effect. She had a lot of autopsies. Why? This person was a professional and had their account for years. I don't think it's her just because he doesn't believe Noah was beaten to death. Fair enough. We all have our opinions. See, this is the thing. When it comes to the Noah Presgrove case, a lot of people have different opinions. That's okay. But quite a few people who I'm seeing now are saying this is just a concept that's not exactly true, that's not entirely proven, right? It's because they don't agree with that opinion, that theory or outcome, but then they follow it up by stating something else as a fact when it hasn't been truly proven or reinforced with evidence. So I think some people are just as bad as one another. That's why with me being here and using appropriate language and wording, it will cleanse any problems, okay? Definitely not professional calling people out and deleting their post. That's not professional. But once again, I don't think he was or she was deleting the comments. I said the same thing when she gets on her soapbox. She uses the exact same language and form when she always has to throw a few jabs in there. Far from professional. Yeah, it's definitely her back at it again. This anonymous poster told me a lot. I have been very clear about providing the financial support for legal fees for someone to turn states to help anyone, with vital evidence or potential piece of evidence to be walked through the appropriate channels, not all known about on these pages or publicly known. I have not questioned the existence of evidence, but have made offers to help. I have also stated that I do not wish to be contacted or told anything, but their attorney of their choice can talk with my attorney to vet all the info and provide the financial arrangements for their attorney to be paid. So why would a so-called unbiased forensic pathologist just doing this opinion report of Noah's autopsy of goodness, their heart, want to call me out specifically and attempt to belittle and disparage me, not even knowing who the poster was, and then deletes my reply, clearing my name? This reeks, this stinks, it smells like nothing but covert disinformation. They delete everything that don't fit their agenda. Is that talking about the whole Reddit page or those in the background? I knew when I read the unverified experts report that was a bunch of BS. I'm sorry this happened to you. Majority of us don't just want justice. Okay? Speaks volumes. Sorry if I'm going through this a bit too slow. There's just a lot of comments and I'm just trying to read through them because there might be information I've never heard before. That's why I do it, and it might help you. Let me know in the future though if you want this to continue. I thought his analysis was spot on. I have no faith in the Daily Mail. Maybe some more medical examiners need to help out and offer their opinion. I'm open to anything, but so far his analysis aligned with a lot for me. I'm just thinking about this Mickalene, and I could be wrong, is the same person I've seen on YouTube recently that was telling me that this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong, and yet some of the stuff was mentioned in the official autopsy documents, and, you know, it could be a different person. I don't know, it's just the name reminds me of someone. Jan, I had posted questions previously that he did not answer and instead deleted them. My questions were not leading, were not about rumours, but of a medical nature, and was asking mainly for clarification. If it can't be answered, it can't be proved. So if he was correct and sure of his opinion, he would have replied. My questions had not been posted by others, or maybe they weren't deleted as well, I don't know. Aware that not all scientists are without ego, but they do want their analysis put to the test to make sure it will hold water. Also, why post this long theory on Reddit? Post anonymously. If you are offering your valuable assistance, why not post it on YouTube? Why the behind the screens post, but mainly for me? Why specifically call me out of all people? So yeah, I do agree. Them specifically calling you out by your first name, even though on Reddit, if it's all anonymous or you got the option of having alternative random names, how would they know your name and that you're behind that account? That is a little bit odd. And even if they were on Facebook and saw what Jan had to say here, how would they know that's what Jan said on Reddit under a different name? You know, I could be on YouTube, I could be on Facebook, I might see the same exact person, but I'm still not going to know it's the same person unless they've got the same exact username. In this case with Jan, Jan is called Jan on here, but as for Reddit, different name. So how would you know? So it looks like it's beyond looking on Facebook and looking a bit closer or getting a hold of information from elsewhere. That's what it seems to be, in my opinion. So, yeah, what else? I mean, in defense, when it comes to Reddit, it's a very popular place and a lot of people engage on it, and not everybody uses their real names. There's a lot of people that are an expert in this, an expert in that, have experienced this in life, a millionaire, a poor person, a depressed person, all kinds of different scenarios in life and experiences where they share, and they do AMAs, Ask Me Anything. Not quite the case here, but on Reddit, it's very well known for Ask Me Anything, and they still have an anonymous name. They don't have anything to hide exactly, but they may just not want to reveal their name, but they will share their experience. It can happen. What else? The body bags ME said Noah's injuries were worse than someone. Yeah, we saw that. It must have been, yeah. His attitude literally sucks. He couldn't answer the questions about the white shorts. This person is a fake. Okay, yeah. So I've seen that response. We can actually look at it. So we can look at the comments. Whoa, why is it zoomed out? What an arrogant ass. No wonder he's unverified expert. No real expert would even, right? The reason why he's an unverified expert is because the moderators of that subreddit haven't been able to reach out to him in order to be proven those credentials. So, yeah. Strictly my opinion, personal experience, but I believe empathy is mostly innate, right? I discounted him for several reasons. His tone and inflection, his sarcasm, his unprofessional behaviour towards his colleague. I've never seen a medical professional blatantly criticise MD in public forum. They don't do that. I mean, if he's a former expert, and for whatever reason why he's or she has departed from that, they might have a bitter taste in their mouth, you never know. I mean, on a small scale, you had people that work in shoe shops, worked in fast food places, restaurants, and then they've been fired or there've been disagreements. So then they've gone online talking bad about them and revealing the secrets and tips behind the scenes within those workplaces. It can happen. I had a typo, it wouldn't let me edit it, so I deleted it. King story short, there are a lot of strange characters commenting on Reddit, in my opinion. Straitjacket material, what I mean. Fascination of gore and horror, and some ask that it be posted. Lots of weirdos. So is this person saying that specifically on the Noah Presgrove Reddit page, which has over 1,500 members, that there's a lot of mental people over there? Is that what Portland's saying, or are you just saying about Reddit in general? If just an accident, why haven't the golf clubs been returned? Where are the clubs? Where's Noah's hat, wallet, money, Adidas shoe? FBI needs warrants. Let's just see follow-ups from that. Exactly. Ellie needs to demand those items to be turned in. Blows my mind. Right. Bottom of a lake. Wait, hold on. In terms of his other Adidas shoe. Okay, because Noah was seen wearing mismatched shoes. I guess his own shoe, Adidas, and Caden Pressey's Hey Dude shoe, which is a bit random. Were they of the same size shoe? Must have been to be able to wear it properly. If it was a wrong size shoe, it probably wouldn't have fit, or it could have fell off easily. But yeah, golf clubs missing. Noah Presgrove's hat missing. Noah Presgrove's wallet, money, and his other Adidas shoe missing. Jack Newton's hat missing. So there we go, we've got a bit of a list there. Can I just get that? So it looks like these items listed here are all missing from the looks of it. So we can always look back later. What's this one? Former prosecutor dentist. That's an interesting title there. Same thing. Loves anything Newton Howard Wilcoxon. Even though he doesn't live anywhere near them, of course you have to be on guard to all the fake post, solicited post, distractions, whatnot. Throw in Jeremiah Wilson shitting his pants, not enough. Dude wipes in the county to wipe up his explosive diarrhea. After finding out he exposed his shorts to the universe by not forwarding pertinent details, got called out. Okay. What else? He was told 9 months ago that Jack and Jason, I don't know who Jason is, I'm assuming Jack Newton, were at the site where Noah's body was found prior to 911 being called by innocent bystanders, and that they are involved with the murder and cover-up of Noah's death respectively, and protected and covered up for them, and or didn't disclose the information or move forward with it to have it investigated. Some type of disinformation campaign going on. There's so many comments, isn't there? Seriously, any minuscule doubt of mine that this could have stated a misadventure just went out the window, just not that way. The gaslighting going on, the anonymous post after seeing him that morning on his way to his first day of work. Oh boy. What? There's a lot of misinformation going on both ways. I wish we just had verifiable facts, no speculation, no rumours. Definitely not both sides for sure. Everything I've gathered and posts came from Partigo Podcast News LE family. And from what I personally saw, that hit and run was staged all day. That social hosting party caused Noah's death. Those are facts. Ellie hasn't released anything in months and keeps everyone in the dark. Multiple partygoers think it was foul play. Wonder why. Oh. Only posted to see who it was from. It was posted on the discussion page where they had me blocked. You don't think that's weird? But I do believe that had to be a fake account as well, possibly. Wait, so is Justin Roy saying he's blocked from the Noah Presgrove Reddit page? Looks like it. What do you mean by both ways? Yeah, but why go straight in on something that could be verifiable? Do you think about the admin, his claim of a secret video and several other outlandish claims? I asked God for the gift. Okay. What are the partygoers' foul play theory on what happened that night? Who took the first swing? Who was peer pressured to join them? Who was protecting who in the incident? Who got involved in the escalation that led to his demise? They claimed to not know details, but he got jumped over a girl, then it went too far. I agree, I think it was over a girl or the person that did this to Noah just hated him. There's so many comments. You know what, I think I'll call it a day shortly because it's getting a bit long, this. Yeah, I read it yesterday and I don't think he's professional at all. His attitude and grammar speaks for itself because we still need to get everyone to that page. His, also known as Stevie Howard in disguise. What else? Shannon Sullivan working in professional capacity. Some of the most intelligent people I've dealt with. Their brains work hard on their focus obsession. Not what they deem as minuscule and irrelevant. Maybe. With lots of help, or someone could write a complete sentence paid. Well, whoever it is very unprofessional. What else? Answer the question in regards to the white shorts, Noah's broken, missing teeth. They said if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So why the attitude attacking people and deleting comments? There are some screenshots highlighted. We can always go over that, of course. Right. I think we'll leave it there because I think we've looked at most of them, right? Map is trying to desperately to make it as no Presgrove accidentally fell out like this story. Okay. What else do we have here? For clarification, this screenshot shows the post at the top of the pic that the so-called expert was replying to that he claimed was me. Oh. I can't even say it's too blurry, actually. Is he the former deputy coroner guy? This sounds like AJ Williams. He doesn't think anyone beat Noah either. Can't quite see that. I wouldn't feed into that. I didn't get caught up with the diversions where it was happening on the page because that's exactly what they want, mind games. Right, there we go. So just about read all the comments. I do apologise for the time that took, but let's just head on over to the Reddit page just to catch up on the comments there, but see if there's any new resistance of some sort. Illustration from Up to Help You. Now, I don't know if this will work or not. Open a new tab. Apologies if there's any adverts or any silly noises in the background. Don't know if you can see it properly, but this looks like it's been provided. So on a vehicle, fall to weight of torso. I mean, who wrote this anyway? Something surface, head impact, scalp laceration, skull fracture, brain injury, head first, inertia, rotation, body, right heel, contusion, impact, abrasion, rib fractures, chest. I mean, it's creative, this. I'll give him that, but I don't know who made it. And to be honest, there's so many bloody adverts. Let's just click off. A bit dodgy, that. I don't like it when adverts start popping up all over the place, because if it's anything like TikTok with the sound in the background, even though I've got the volume on 0, if there's any sound in the background, I'll have to look over that later in this video, because I do not want to risk it again. It's annoying, right? The noises. But yeah. What do people have to say about that drawing? Pardon my awful handwriting. Ah. So it was Opening Map himself that drew that. Okay. You can also see why I didn't pursue a career as a professional artist. So you see how it's all friendly here and positive. Interesting. No worries, I was able to successfully get through the entire drawing and I was able to read word for word. I couldn't quite then. Always happy to help. Always happy. Let's see what else is said. You said above, the lack of forearm injuries and fractures indicate he was not trying to brace himself and was indeed either slightly conscious or not conscious at all. I get the other injuries correlate different. Can you explain why he was bleeding out of his ears without it being noted on the first page of the autopsy form? Or the fact that they put here, say, information in it? I'm genuinely asking. I'm not educated enough. Okay? But I feel like some of this does contradict itself. In the beginning, you made it seem as if it was conscious, it was barely. In the end, I feel you were saying the opposite, as if he was alive when he hit the road surface. It makes no sense. Right? No response. Interesting. Regardless, these kids committed a crime, but not reporting. I appreciate everything you said. I do think he could have been thrown from a moving vehicle. They said 0 injuries from the wreck, the ATV. That would have been innocent. Why wouldn't you call for help when your family's in danger? No response there. Great synopsis. I can see that he could have fallen off the back. Right, this is what leads me to believe he didn't fall out of a regular vehicle because he was most likely would have ended up on the side of the road that a car would be driving on, but I think he was on the opposite side. What? So like he was walking into head-coming traffic and not on the same side as walking. Okay. Oh, this person says bullshit, but the comment's still up. Why did the best friend text exactly the time of the 911 call? Why were the marker names washed off the body? Why did the best friend, fiancé, say she didn't know Noah? I mean, you know, if you get dusty, you have a wash and you just happen to have body art drawn on you at the same time, that's naturally going to be washed off at the same time. What is the time frame that he left the party and the call coming on the roadside? 3:30, it was supposedly said. Rumble strips, yes, we've noted that. What about his shorts being folded next to his body? Wouldn't his shoes have flung off? He had fallen out of a truck. And as well, you know, if he's got mismatched shoes, what's the chances that one shoe was one size big or smaller than his shoe size, I wonder? Thank you for this detailed description. Completely agree. Okay. But the online attacks on people wanting to believe this was a beating was overwhelming, so they stopped participating in the discussion. What's going on here? Interesting. The last time I looked, there was a bit of skepticism from people. Now I'm just seeing a lot of positive comments. Interesting. There are a few emergency room doctors who said similar things when Noah's autopsy came out, but the online attacks from people wanting to believe it was a beating. Wow, so things are getting very divided now. Fascinating, insightful interpretation, very well thought out. What are your thoughts that Noah could have been dropped or pushed from a height? Didn't make reference to blood. I do believe that the body was pushed out of a moving vehicle. Okay. No responses just yet, so I believe this is an excellent question if he was... You know what I'll do? We probably should just read out the ones where there's responses to check for the engagement. What keeps bugging me, the videos of the party where he's provoking people to slap him, hit him, and his obnoxious behaviour throughout the nights. We see one kid with a knife, one has a shotgun. It wasn't a shotgun, it was a rifle. Drunk teens acting very reckless. I feel that Noah may have gotten on some of the other guys at the party's nerves. Maybe, and if there are uninvited or strangers attending the party who don't know the likes of Noah, they're not going to understand. There might be misunderstandings, and with alcohol can lead to trouble. I do not believe that his friends hurt him. From everything I've read, everyone loved him. He was the life of the party. Right, it might sound a bit negative, this is just my opinion, but the way people are typing here sounds exactly like those within the case. I'm not trying to be negative or cause trouble, but it just, you know, when I've seen the text messages from people, the likes of Jasmine Milan, Stephanie Milan, I guess Jack Newton to an extent, and some others, it just sounds very familiar and similar. I'm not sure what's going on. You state that you don't believe there was any foul play, so I appreciate your professional knowledge, but I'm confused as to how Noah had sustained those injuries from an accident. Should have been called. I mean, yeah, we've got a bit of counterpoints here, haven't we? Oh, where have we gone now? Has it kicked me off? I don't know. Let's just do... No, we don't do that. Hide reader. Just get rid of the toolbar. It gets in the way, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. It looks like it's kicked me off or something, like on the page. Right, yeah, we've seen that. Appreciate. Yeah. Both true. Sense of BS in this case. Death was caused by accident, misadventure. His friends absolutely panicked and tried to cover it up. I'm wondering this as well. Thanks for your in-depth analysis of the injuries. Appreciate the insight, medical knowledge, exactly. Feel like, yeah, Not paid, not working for the defence. I don't work for anyone in this case any more than you do. Okay. That's what I was trying to look for, you know, the responses of the guy himself. All good points, C. This is why I love this sort of discussion. I just meant they weren't covering up a homicide. I should have worded that more clearly. That's the purpose of an autopsy. Okay, if you're not willing to have a discussion, then you can scream into the void. Right, this is where we start possibly getting the unprofessional behaviour as an example, but let's just see. Just department. 1, someone still had to be driving. That person was at the party and a friend. No random strangers wandering around a town of like 300 at 4 a.m. 2, they're all still lying and not bringing closure to the family. 3, local law enforcement did not even attempt to investigate the location less than a mile away where he was coming from when he died. Not much changes how I feel about the facts I've listed above. Someone knows exactly how he died and they deserve to be held accountable. You're right on target, Puzzlehead agrees, but opening says, okay, if you're not willing to have a discussion then, you can scream into the void. There we go, we're starting to see it a bit. With all due respect, as you've explained things very well, you do not know the group involved or the parents. There is a cover-up. Recklessness took place, as in all the deaths surrounding this group. I do believe all of what you say to be true, as you are an expert. Okay. This comment needs more votes. It's the only logical comment. Anyone responds? Also, he's not making a logical conclusion for the missing blood. I can't remember. There was no missing blood. The only blood noted in the autopsy was from internal bleeding. There was blood in body, but was not noted because it was not significant to his injuries. They don't drain all the blood and measure it, to my knowledge. I don't know. God, there's so much text. That's why it's quite heavy, this. His analysis is to look at the injuries to the body to determine what caused the death. The cover-up part is up to the local authorities to figure out. Let's just see what's said here. Okay. Oh no, it kicked me off, you bastard. Hate it when it does that. Gotta go all the way back down, bitch. How far down was it? So all the new comments were very positive and in agreement, but now the other ones are starting to question. And, you know, the key thing is here, right? Like with what only language says, questioning. So, see, these are still up, right? These comments are still up. Not everyone agrees with the original poster, but their comments are still there. And that one as well. So here we go, opening torture, Show me evidence of that. These folks might be, as you described them, just this side of war criminals, but there's no evidence of torture. Arguing that in the face of no evidence is a good example of confirmation bias. You assume there had to be foul play. As someone in forensics, I don't have that luxury once the evidence contradicts it. No matter how much the family and their supposed co-conspiracies can allegedly shut down the investigation, which is still an active case, they cannot change the injuries to the body. If you seriously believe that there's a conspiracy involving multiple state-level agencies to cover this up, I seriously question how rationally you are approaching this. Seems like you're pushing this narrative of it being an accident when you don't even know who was involved. Have you heard the various stories or the threats made to certain people from some of the family members? The evidence of tortures in the autopsy report. Are you downvote people who don't agree with you? Seems fishy to me. Look, Soul Serenade, 2 days ago, questioning, responding back to OP, right? OP could call this criticism and could get, throw toys out the pram. He or she didn't delete this comment, right? So, the comment's still up, right? Let's talk about him being naked when first found, not in fetal position, and when the LE gets to the scene, he's naked and in fetal position, also drop of blood at scene. All of that is rumours. The police reports have not been made public, and supposed witnesses on scene all have conflicting stories. Unfortunately, we don't know the truth of the state of the body or the scene when found. I mean, according to his family, he was pretty naked, not even underwear, but ironically still had 2 different types of shoes on. I think the family is a viable source, and because Caden Pressey is trying to tell the truth, and they think more words against one will win, so of course there's conflict in info. You got the whole town of Terrell trying to cover it up. I mean, from what we heard recently, unclothed at the time of 5:53 when Tyler Hardy came on down and saw the body. But before that, Caden Pressey said he saw the person clothed with black shorts on. And then in between that, you got that hidden footage which shows a police guy taking the shorts off and folding new ones nearby. Really appreciate information, happy to be assistance. Ever seen firsthand what a head striking a solid surface at high rate speeds can do in terms of trauma? It's certainly capable. I'm not seeing too much resistance. I think what I do need to do, you can exclude all the evidence you like to... there we go. Threaded barrel. Right, so this is quite important, okay, because this is what was mentioned or reposted on Facebook, in which Jan said the comment was deleted. Well, it couldn't have been, because the thread is still here, unless it's her individual one. So we'll just read it anyway. We saw it before. I'm not buying the conclusions of this analysis. You'd have to ignore too many major issues. You'd have to ignore the complete lack of blood anywhere at the scene. You'd have to ignore missing golf clubs at the party, then discovered months later at Newton's scrap pile. You'd have to ignore the video showing Noah wearing black shorts that were removed by officials at the scene hours before the 911 call placed. Yeah, that's kind of like what we mentioned earlier. It's 100% does exist. I verified this. Hopefully will become publicly available soon. Well, if the video footage can be publicly made available, even if people don't want to see it, then it will really help reinforce the situation. If it can't be, then that's unfortunate. 2. Other pathologists agreed he was beaten and body likely moved. The ME report also excluded crucial information regarding Noah's shredded fingertips. The ME also excluded about Noah's shredded fingertips. Yeah, I didn't see it mentioned there, so that's important. See, the reason why it's such an unfortunate situation is if the ME, the autopsy, is a little bit corrupt as well and hasn't included information on purpose, it doesn't help with the trust factor, because normally when it comes to official reports, official news, official court documents, official autopsy reports, normally, I don't know how often, but normally you would hope and wish in believing in the official information. It might not come about that often, it might take some time, but when it does, it makes an impact. You tend to believe in it, or you hope to be able to believe in it, and it sets the story straight. But in this case, even that is questionable. If it just so happens that the local authorities are possibly a bit corrupt, or some within are a bit corrupt who are involved in the case, could there be a hand played with the medical examiner as well being a bit dodgy too? If there is a connection in the background, cross-connection of official people with official statements not being entirely true, and you can't believe in that either, who the hell can you believe in? This might have more trust issues than the Dylan Rounds case. Ooh. Well, all I could say is, at the end of the day, if everything goes downhill, use common sense. That's the only thing that's left as a form of hope. So, In response, we saw that what Jan included here. We read it all. Is anything mentioned below, though? 25 responses. Human waiting, your spidey senses must be off. I was legit thinking whilst reading all the thread that you might have an unbiased objective opinion. Signed, Jan. Ta-da! Drum roll! Play the music. The magic, I don't know, has been revealed. Jan's comment wasn't deleted. Jan claimed that her comment was deleted, that she was silenced from Reddit from the page, and that the original poster deleted her comment. It's here. It's still here. It was never deleted. Ta-da! There we go. I don't know about other people's comments because I can't remember it all. But here we go. Solid proof this comment by Jan publicly remains. My first name, Jan, apparently because I made an offer of attorney fees. Yeah, this was reposted on Facebook because it's from Jan's point of view. And yet Jan's saying she was deleted. No, she wasn't. Still here. So, whilst people on Facebook are talking about disinformation and misinformation, well, there's misinformation of false claims being made that comments are being deleted because it's still here public. You get where this is going. But let's just continue the thread because we didn't get to see it before. What's being said? Jaded. Sure Jan is a meme. What episode is Sure Jan from? What's the original origin of Sure Jan? The quote originates from a very Brady sequel which premiered in the United States. Okay. It wasn't directed at you, it was directed at the person he replied to stating he was basically lying. Just Google Sure Jan. Wow, so defensive, lol. Doesn't sound like you're biased at all. The people who are looking into this are looking for truth, not BS excuses by a forensic pathologist as to why the likely scenario is not true, and the one they're pushing is true. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out, and if you don't know about the video, then you're clearly or not in the know of what's really going on. But take in mind, it is kind of in the background. And if you do know about it or are discounting its importance, then you clearly have something to hide. The video does exist. Many people have seen it. What? Many people have seen it? Well, if many people have seen it, how come not many people have documented it or archived it online and posted it and reposted it then? Because at least from the key individuals over that way that have received that information, at least 3 people, maybe maximum, have the footage. That's not a lot, is it? Oh no, language. I think I'm going to have an aneurysm. Hold on. Produced the said video or didn't happen. Yeah. Are you serious right now? His job as a forensic anthropologist is to not be biased. He's not supposed to look at the video or a map or whatever BS you claim. A forensic anthropologist's job is to look at only the body and determine what happened to it. Maybe you should read up on that. It was more so to be looking at the bones. Again, someone that has way more experience in this field than you do. If someone is diagnosed with a brain tumour, are you going to believe the diagnosis of the oncologist or who has way more experience in the field than you do, or go, oh no, that's not correct because I know more than you? Get the fuck... What word does that mean? GTFOH. What does that mean? Get the fuck out of here. Okay. Well, there we go. Apologies about language. Powerful says, and who's to say that you're not an anthropologist paid by the Newtons or the Stevie Howard family to try clear the accusations and distract people? Ooh. Anyway, the FBI has this case in their hands and no more corruption will be possible. I hope justice will do its job and condemn anyone who tried to cover up the case. Opening says, I've got no stake in it other than a genuine interest in getting to the truth. I agree, if anyone broke the law in this case, they deserve to pay for it. If I can help nail them, all the better. Being brutally honest, I haven't even looked at the map to see where in Oklahoma this happened. Laughing emoji. Would a professional use a laughing emoji and kind of brush it off? Why would opening map be defensive to some people but not to others when clearly they're still being called out? Interesting. Maybe the mood that we're in on the day. Very interesting. Okay, so we saw that one. Well, for starters, Daily Mail is a little more than a tabloid. I think we've seen that, though. In other words, that opinion is complete and utter bullshit. Oh, okay. What's this? Bothered to get a trauma... Oh yeah, we saw that, didn't we? Fair, but calling them a news source is still being pretty generous. Then again, inaccurate coverage is not really that helpful in the scheme of things. Thank you. Okay, they're just handing him the autopsy report, then it's like presuming complete file normally. Okay, whatever. I think we get the point where this is going. There was blood from what I was told. Who told you? There was most definitely blood on the body according to what I was told. Ah, there we go. This is where opening is referring to about a family member in contact. There was blood from what I was told. There was most definitely blood on the body according to what I was told by a family member after posting this. It was actually what led law enforcement to believe he had been moved. Right. You don't normally wind up with gravel in the wounds, and if you land on a paved road. There was a black material in the abrasions and most likely came from the road. Right, road rash. Impact with dirt will certainly cause abrasions at the kind of speed involved here. In fact, you are arguably more likely to wind up with more debris in the wounds on a dirt surface than a paved one. Wow, these discussions are long. There is debris in some of the wounds, it's not uncommon. Also, the zero blood BS has been worked over more times than it needed to be. I'm not going to keep repeating myself over and over at that point. Right. I was the one who suggested hog hair, said that I cannot determine it came from without seeing it. The other nurse, bear with me as I'm really tired, so I'm not sure what you mean. Huh. What's this? We need you here. I think I'll leave it here for now, shortly. I've answered that question several times already. 3 words, wrongful death lawsuit. At the time of impact, I think he was on... Okay, we saw that. Assistance. I mean, you can always pause the video and read the comments if you want, but... Right, let's just leave it there for now. Understandably, I'd understand if people found this video boring. I do understand myself, though, that the conversations, discussions, the points what people make from Reddit to the Facebook page are all quite important, right? I think looking at it all in one go was a little bit too heavy, in my opinion, but I tried looking through as much as I could in a small space of time. I do feel that I'm probably best approaching that point where I think outside the box and do, the bullet points, and I look back at some previous stuff, because the current discussions are a bit heavy. I'm going to give you my predictions right now. It's very important that people stick around because I've made predictions in the past. It's helped people as long as people listen in, okay? And at times I have predicted things in the past and it's came true. So, whilst it seemed evident that within this case, it was those on the inside that are the problem, it's coming to that point now where it looks like those on the outside, maybe some problematic people, or just maybe misunderstandings and tension with different people from different areas and different pages, and the different usage of language, it doesn't quite gel together. For the most part of it, the people I've come across have been good individuals, or at least have been good to me, so I appreciate that. Obviously, we've come across the odd impetuous person here and there. I think the video last night, somebody got triggered saying, I had to stop watching your video because I was offended at how you say yowl. It's really disrespectful to rednecks and southern people. No tears. No shits given. Oh well. But other people seem to like it and find it fun. It's just lighthearted, especially times like this where you've got a serious case. For some, it's upsetting. For others, it's confusing. People have headaches. People are stressed, all kinds of emotions. Bit of lightheartedness breaks the tension. It breaks the negative mood. It can help. It was applied in the Dylan Rounds case. It worked. It can be applied here too within the right reasons and an appropriate nature, right? So it's all under control. But I don't know. I just think it's getting to the point, it's getting to time where I need to not drift away, but kind of think outside of the box with getting a better understanding of the case now and trying to process everything in a very short space of time with all the conflicting stories, the people calling out other stuff as being BS and misinformation, whilst they then retain to what they know and state it as a fact when it's not. That is disastrous. I'm not being specific here as to anyone, but I haven't got a headache. I don't think I've ever had a headache, but I do sense when it's getting a bit messy, at least, and I think language and wording, oh no, it wasn't a good day today for language, wording, contradictions, and possibly, what's the other term used? I forgot what the other term is. Clearly it's been that bad that I can't even remember the terms. Maybe double standards. Oh, that's not allowed. That's incorrect, but this is okay and this is allowed, but, you know, where's the information and evidence? Well, we're not going to say that. It's like when people keep pushing the shower thing. Okay. It supposedly happened. But you seem very confident on it. Do you have the video footage of the shower? Did you watch Noah have a little shower? If not, then how can you be so confident as to exactly what it was all about for that shower? Are you just basing it off what other people have said? So why can't the other people in the community, from what they've heard of from elsewhere, say the same thing and have their own thoughts and ideas? See, it's what I think. You got opinions, you got theories, ideas, you got facts, you got certainty, you got lack of certainty, uncertainty, and I think it's getting all a bit shoved around together and it doesn't quite work. I just feel like it's not going too well, right? I don't know if the cracks are starting to form, or at least I've only just become aware of it right now, but I am starting to suddenly see some tension, friction between opposing groups, opposing different individuals. I'm starting to sense very poor language and wording now, worse than ever before. It's not a good look. It can lead to confusion. It can lead to frustration, and it becomes chaotic, okay? It's not needed. When the case already is a bit of a mess and the people within are a bit of a mess, we don't need it from the outside as well. At least when I got involved in this case at first, to my knowledge and understanding at that point, respectively, made the odd mistake or asked many questions when supposedly I shouldn't be, because I should know it all, because I'm supposedly a YouTuber and I should know everything. That's how some people's expectations are. We do it like a live experience as we go along. We both learn and answer one another questions, right? It's no harm in that. And that's why it was like, I asked a question, people with more experience and time on the case were able to answer that. That was very good. Then as I've learned a bit more, some newer people have come to my channel asking about stuff, and then I was able to pass it on to answer their questions. So it's a perfect chain of events. Perfect. Under control. Appropriate language. Polite. Neutral. Not defensive. Not snappy. Not overly passionate, because that can come across as annoying as well. Not overly emotional, as like some people are within the community. Will cracks start to emerge though? If I become more confident in this case, it's more likely that people will get triggered by me. I noticed that with the Dylan Rounds case. As I learned more, as I understood the case more, and I understood the BS more, and because naturally I was able to pick up on the contradictions, the changes in behavior, and I did my psychological analysis of it, it absolutely triggered majority of people in the Dylan Rounds case community, the dodgy misfits, the disease-ridden humans, creators, and audience members. They detested me. I was locked on, okay? Is that what's going to happen here within the Noah Presgrove case? Well, if the case goes on long enough and I've got the time to pick up on it all, you know, providing it's possible, because there is a lot more information to digest here than there was in Dylan Rounds. But if I do manage it and I get a very firm grip, there is a fair chance that when I start speaking and when I start locking on, people are going to shit themselves. People are going to probably have a meltdown. People are going to hyperventilate. People are going to get triggered by my presence, even just me breathing. That's what can happen. I've seen it before, okay? I do come across some people and I think maybe they're over-emotional, maybe they're very passionate, and if I get on the wrong side of them, or if there's a misunderstanding, they're probably the first type of people to have a go at me and start attacking me. So I'm aware. It feels like could possibly be on an ice ring right now, and at any point, if it does break, ooh, shit's going to go down, okay? I could turn into the black sheep. It's happened before in the past. I came out of it in the end, pure. I'm sure it can happen again. But I do think I'm edging ever so closer to doing my own thing. And technically, I have been already. Some people could say, well, if you aren't going to do your own thing now, are you contradicting everything you've done before? Well, you defended. Oh, no. See, I can do it on the spot as well, little mind games and language. Not going to work here, bitch, okay? Trying to be lighthearted as well with certain language and wording in case people don't understand. Mismatching, switching, changing. But being focused, being realistic, being serious. What I've done previously, some of it has been very creative and has never been done before by other people, such as the reconstructions and the deep map analysis. Of course, that's what I can do. That's what I'm good at. But in terms of kind of putting aside the, whatever you call it, facts, well, no, you can't say putting aside facts, but then again, even the facts can change and switch, can't they? Like Dylan Rounds. It's just that when the Dylan Rounds one, it happened a bit sooner. And I was there at the time of when it was unfolding. So maybe there's exceptions, but I just feel within, I've got projects, I've got bullet points, I've got valid videos, important stuff to look at, which may not be as recent as the breaking news what we've heard of, but it's looking back to clear up previous things, to learn about previous stuff. Like when we saw that list of the items today and we thought, oh, so that's missing. Is that really true? Well, we can look at each one. It's like, first of all, the golf clubs, let's look at that, do a separate video on it. I think today has proven that, yes, you can keep up with the latest discussions and maybe the latest news, but even that can get a bit too heavy and it's not entirely true. I mean, not to be rude, but what Jan said, and hopefully it's not the Jan who's on YouTube, because Jan Thompson, good individual, positive person, maybe different Jans, there's a lot of different people with same names, right? But just to be honest, what Jan stated on Facebook and what other people were saying, how comments were being deleted and removed and being blocked. I mean, I saw comments there that weren't deleted, that were criticising or questioning the original poster. Even Jan's comment was still there now. So I don't know what people are talking about comments being removed or not there. Is there a possibility that they're held for review? Maybe. I mean, on Reddit, if I was to post something right now on one of the Reddit pages, it won't be posted immediately. It will say held for review. The moderators check to see if it follows guidelines, and if it does, approves it. There we go. Does that happen with comments as well? I don't know. Maybe there's a small chance. Could there be a glitch in which comments didn't appear immediately, so you assumed that they were deleted? Maybe. But this is where people jump in on the deep end, and this is where it can link to over-emotional or very passionate people within a case. That the first thing something happens or appears to happen, people jump into the deep end and assume that that's the reason or that's who's responsible. It's not always the case. It's like people in the past from the Dylan Rounds case when their comments were deleted from my channel, and quite a few people jumped to the conclusion and said, Warlike Raf, you deleted my comment, why? And I'm like, excuse me? YouTube takes control at times. YouTube deleted my own comments on my own bloody video. So for people, strangers, to come at me and say, why are you deleting them? I don't think it's right. You need to think before you speak or type, right? And I think that might apply to people on Facebook as well with the Reddit situation. There will be some occasions where people may have genuinely been silenced, but in this instance, it doesn't seem to be the case because I saw the comments myself publicly. They weren't deleted, or at least some of them weren't. I couldn't track all the comments because there were so many, 272 on top of all the ones on Facebook. That's crazy in length. Don't worry, I won't do this again to this extent. There's no harm in looking at some comments, but when there's hundreds and hundreds, it could go on for hours. Now, of course, just let me know down below if you are interested in these type of videos, and I will consider it for the future. I don't want to just write it off completely, but equally, I don't want to bore people to death, okay? So just let me know how this video went, right? Was it too heavy? A bit too much? Or was it okay? Was it great? Let me know in the comment section down below. Of course, if it wasn't the best, That's why I can do my own original videos. Maybe I should have worded it as recently, because of how I see and feel things going within the communities. I'm starting to see that divide. I'm starting to see that tension. I'm starting to see that poor language and wording. It's now time for me to step in, or more so to step away, focus on the case more than ever, look back at previous stuff and use my own original means to be able to get a better understanding and to, you know, kind of distance myself from this mess at this moment in time, and then return back later more focused, or separate through it all. Because take in mind, the reason why I do look at people's comments and why I do this process is because these people will have more knowledge than me. So naturally, you will look to people who have more knowledge, right? Especially because I've only just looked into the case recently. So in a way, it shows that I'm showing respect to other people because I'm giving my time to listen to others, and I'm showing it in live action right now. So in other words, abstract art. There we go. So I think we'll leave it there for now. Yowl. I'm sorry. Someone triggered. Don't worry, I can do 15 other accents if that will help make things better. So feel free to like and share the video. Of course, catch up on the previous breaking news on the I symbol top right corner, and leave your questions down below. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.